my little pretties, what's up? It's the Queen of Lions here, and today we are back with another episode of Shadows and Pretties podcast series. Now, this is episode 2, so the last episode we reviewed not really reviewed, but we talked about The Wizard of Oz. And if you guys want to know, I do have a playlist for my podcast series for those who want to tune in and watch them. I'll be sure to leave, be sure you check out my first episode in the description. And I did make a public, playlist so you guys can see, my podcast series. Today we are going to I'm going to be talking about the Broadway musical Wicked. Now, there are great songs in this, musical, and I decided to do another Oz-related video, and this is what it is. Now, this Broadway musical was originally premiered and started in 2003 in May, and oh my goodness. Well, I could definitely say right now that it's 17 years old right now. This whole thing, this Broadway musical is around 17 years old. Yes, people, 17 years old. Wow, my goodness, where did the time fly? It was started in 2003 in May of 28th of 2003 in May. My goodness, that's a very long time. Well, that's been years. Now, of course, this is the untold story of the Witches of Oz, or aka the prequel to Wizard of Oz. Most people think that, Oz the Great and Powerful is a prequel of how the wizard got there, which I will be making another podcast episode talking about that, because I have not seen the movie in ages. Okay, I think I kind of, already explained, about what I've done, but let me begin. Now, of course, this one, the music and the lyrics of the songs has been made by Stephen Fitzgerald and he did really good job at this. Now, the book Wicked, this is based on the book, and of course it was based on the 1995 Wicked novel, The Life and the Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. Itself is retelling the classic novel that came out in 1900, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. And of course, it's kind of like the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer film Wizard of Oz. Now, of course, this has been told by the perspective of the witches in Oz, and of course, the plot begins and continues after Dorothy arrives in Oz from Kansas. Of course, this includes, several references from the MGM films and Baum's novel. Of course, the Wicked tells a story about two unlikely friends, Elphaba, aka the Wicked Witch of the West, or Glenda, whose name changes to Glinda, the Good Witch, who struggles through the opposing personalities and viewpoints. Of course, they have the same love interest in reactions to the wizard's corrupt government, and of course, Elphaba, falls from grace. Now, I'm gonna say right now, before I get started with, the plot of this, is the Elphaba's actor, you should probably already know if you guys have not seen the Broadway performance. It's basically, Elsa in Frozen. Now, I will be making another podcast episode talking about Frozen. That's eventually going to happen, and I will mention it in there. But I thought I'll make a mention of it right now, and here's this. Idina Menzel voices Elsa in Frozen, and she's Elphaba in this Broadway performance. Which is a fun fact. How do I realize that it's Idina Menzel as Elphaba? Is because I think of her as Elsa. And when I look at her at Frozen, I think of the Wicked Witch of the West, or Elphaba, for example. A lot of people, we already didn't know who her real name was when we watched the Wizard of Oz film until I looked up at this Broadway performance. Note that I could say right now that this is actually a really interesting place. The concept itself is actually really awesome. I just really wanted to say that, this whole episode I'm going to be talking about is going to be related to Wicked. There are going to be some, mentions from the Wizard of Oz. It is mentioned in here. It takes place before Dorothy arrives and after Dorothy arrives. And, it's a roller coaster. It is really confusing. And I could definitely say there's like a lot of stuff going on. So, okay. I think I'm going to be, calmly explaining, certain things. So, I guess we can now, begin with this. Now, of course, we have Act 1 and Act 2 of the Broadway performance Wicked, and I will definitely get to the characters as we go. Now, of course, the Ozians are rejoicing the demise of Elphaba, aka the Wicked Witch of the West. Of course, she's dead, and this happens, which, of course, Glinda, the Good Witch of the North, explains Elphaba's past, when Elphaba's mother had an affair with a traveling salesman. Of course, Elphaba's father, who is the governor of Munchkinland, goes out of town as her mother has the affair. Her lover gives her a green elixir and she drinks it. And of course, obviously, she becomes pregnant and gives birth to a baby girl with green skin. Of course, the song in this, while it's going on, is called No One Mourns the Wicked. Now, of course, that's basically the title of this, but there's another one also known as Or Defying Gravity, which I will be explaining about that song in a bit. Now, I could really understand, and hope that, maybe someday we might get a movie based on this, the Broadway performance. I really think we will get, like, a movie of this eventually one day. And of course, an Ozian asks Glinda if she and Elphaba were friends, and of course she admits that they were, leading Glinda to tell them the story of how they became best friends. A flashback starts with the scene at college, or Schutz University, when Elphaba arrives with her father and her younger sister, Nessa Rose, aka the Wicked Witch of the East. Now, Nessa Rose is the Wicked Witch of the West's sister. And of course, we didn't know her name either. Even when we watched The Wizard of Oz numerous times, we didn't know who their names were. But now we do. Of course, due to green skin, Elphaba resents her and her showers to his affection of Nessa Rose, who is physically disabled and uses a wheelchair, and due to a birth defect that contributed to their mother's death in childbirth. As their father says goodbye, he gives Nessa Rose a pair of silver slippers. The head mistress and witch, Madame Morrible, decides to take Nessa Rose under her protection because Nessa Rose is disabled, and her father's favorite, leaving Elphaba, the beautiful and popular Glinda, as roommates to their chagrin. Now, here's the thing I'm going to say right now. I do not have anything, or I do not, and I'm not against anyone who is disabled. I feel bad for Nessa Rose for having to, go through all that, because, I feel bad for people who are in wheelchairs, especially if they have problems nowadays. Like, it's really sad, but, I feel sympathy. If you guys are disabled, I really feel bad for you guys. And note, I'm not saying, any of it to be mean. I'm saying it because I love most of you guys as my subs. I love you guys. You're awesome. But not only that, I can definitely say, I feel bad for some people. But of course, I'm just gonna, continue on with this Broadway performance. I'll make another video explaining why disabled people need respect and love. I will probably make another video discussing about that. But not to be offensive. Okay. Not to being offensive. And of course, we see that Elphaba attempts to take her sister back, and her anger makes Nessa Rose come back to her hands. So Madame Morrible, however, recognizes that Elphaba has special powers and decides to teach her sorcery. She tells Elphaba that her powers might allow her to work one day for the wonderful Wizard of Oz, something Elphaba has dreamed about her whole life. And of course, the song Wizard of I was in it. Both Glinda and Elphaba immediately disliked each other in the song called What Is This Feeling? And they fight constantly, even in their classes, such as history class with Dr. Dillamoid, a goat who is the only animal professor at the university, is beginning to suffer from this discrimination. He tells Elphaba as this conspiracy about a foot drop to stop animals from speaking. And of course she wants to let the wizard know, for he would surely stop it. And that's something bad. That's actually a song or something. Later, a Winky Prince named Fiyero arrives at the university, introduces the students to his philosophy of sympathy dancing through life. Fiyero decides to have an orientation party at Odd Dust Ballroom, but at that evening, everyone agrees to go with Bach. And a munchkin who has developed a crush on Glinda tries to ask her on the dance at the party, but she convinces him to ask Nessa Rose out instead. In order to shoo him away, leaving Glinda free to Fiyero, Nessa Rose, who also has a crush on Boq, is delighted and tells her sister how Glinda could make it happen and how happy her life was made. Glinda gives a black witch's hat, to Elphaba to wear at the party as a prank. And the party that evening, Boq tries to tell Nessa Rose the real reason she invited her was because it was too nice to hurt her feelings in a song called Dancing Through Life. She continues to fall for him. Madame Morrible, however, arrives to tell Glinda that she can join her sorcery class at Elphaba's obliging request, and gives her a wand. Elphaba soon arrives wearing a witch's hat, only to find the other students laughing and stared while she awkwardly dances alone. Glinda feels really regretful and starts dancing with Elphaba. Soon everyone joins them, and the two girls looked at each other. Back in their room, of course, they continue to bond, sharing secrets and stuff, and Glinda tells Elphaba that she plans to marry Fiyero, and Elphaba tells Glinda about the order of Nessa Rose to not be born with green skin. Elphaba tells Glinda that she blames herself for her mother's death and her father's arrestment. Glinda then decides to give Elphaba a makeover, and the song Popular comes up. Now, I can definitely understand this. This is like a roller coaster, so there's a lot to explain that I could be talking about for a long time. Of course, next day in her sorcery class, Dr. Dilmore tells the students about that he has been excommunicated, and Elphaba wants to help, but no one will stand up with her. So afterwards, a replacement teacher arrives and introduces the students to the cage, which will keep the animals controlled, so when they'll never be able to speak. It shows a small lion cub. Now, guys, when we see a small lion cub, it is the Cowardly Lion as a young cub or something like that. It's not Simba. It's not Simba, people. I know you guys think of Lion King every time you think of it, but this is Oz world. Elphaba's fury cannot be contained, so she accidentally casts a spell on her fellow students, causing them to degrade involuntarily. She and Fiyero steal the lion cub from the cage and escape, so they share him a tender moment before he leaves. Of course, he leaves embarrassed to free the lion cub. Elphaba reminds herself of how pointless it was to wish something to happen between them, for he loves Glinda to start to reign in I'm Not That Girl. But however, otherwise, Madame Morrible tells the wizard to decide to meet her, and Nessa Rose and Glinda come off to see her. Fiyero meets her too, and of course Fiyero gives Elphaba a bouquet of poppy flowers, but he ignores Glinda. But so obviously Glinda tries to earn Fiyero's respect by changing her name to Glinda. With solitary, Dr. Dilmore, who is mispronounced his name, but Fiyero is not impressed, saying goodbye to Glinda instead, and Elphaba invites Glinda to Emerald City with her, of course in one short day. So the two girls meet the Wizard of Oz, who turns out not quite as intimidating as they thought, a Stentol man. He promises Elphaba that he would grant her request if she proves herself. Madame Morrible appears, and she is the wizard's new press secretary. She gives Elphaba an ancient book of spells called Grimoire, which of course she magically was gifted to read. So Elphaba asks to use a trilevitation spell on the wizard's monkey servant, Chestory. However, the spell does not go the way Elphaba plans, and of course, Chestory sprouts out wings and prevent the truth from coming out. Madame Morrible spreads the reports that Elphaba is a wicked witch, and of course, Elphaba then swears revenge on the wizard for removing the speech from the animal, and she performs a broom spell on the broom. It flies away from Emerald City in Wizard of Oz. That's when the song Defying Gravity comes in. And we have Act 2. Oh my goodness. Another roller coaster in that. So, of course, Elphaba's obsession with the wizard is to regrind her little title, the Wicked Witch of the West. So, that's obviously how we get her name. That's how she gets it. So, Glinda tries to become the positive public in front of the wizard, giving the title Glinda the Good, or like Glinda the Good Witch of the North. North, basically. Whatever you guys prefer to call it. And of course, the wizard's nation defenders against Elphaba, no one mourns the wicked, is pressed to celebrate the Fiyero's appointment as the captain of the guard. is hijacked by a crowd of panicked rumors about Elphaba. Including the story that she may be melted by water, Fiyero gets really furious and is not convinced by Glinda's insistence that Elphaba does not want to be found. So he is further angered when Madame Morrible announces his engagement to Glinda and runs off. So that's really crazy if you ask me. So Glinda tries to keep the cheerful front for a press, but she realizes the dream that would come to a great price, thank goodness. Elphaba pays a visit to Nessa Rose, and Nessa Rose, new governor of Munchkinland, following the death of their father. Nessa Rose has been taken away by the rights of the Munchkins and desperate to try to keep Boq at her side. So Elphaba tries to convince her sister to side against the wizard, but Nessa Rose is more concerned about her own problems. So her sister tries to help her by giving Nessa Rose the power to walk by turning the ruby silver shoes into ruby slippers, convinced that Boq must love her now. So Nessa Rose calls for him, but only sees the proof that she doesn't need him anymore, and only take the opportunity to last chance to tell Glinda that he loves her. As she is now engaged to Fiyero, the news breaks Elphaba's heart, and she ain't quite surprised, hurt. So Nessa Rose takes Elphaba's spellbook and tries to cast a spell to make Boq fall in love with her. Of course, Nessa Rose mispronounced the words of the spell and accidentally shrinks Boq's heart, earning the title the Wicked Witch of the East. Elphaba works with another spell to try to save his life in a different condition than she was before, but then she tells Nessa Rose that she has to return to the place in order to set the monkeys free. However, Nessa Rose is that the only thing she would to go back is to find Fiyero. When Boq awakens, he is disgusted by the new sight of the Man of Shade of Tin and flees from the mansion. So it's obvious that he got his name, the Tin Man. So when Elphaba returns to the wizard's palace to free the monkeys and servants, she encounters the wizard, and he tries once again to convince her to work for him, telling her that she is not evil, but just an average man to come into his position by chance, and offers to redeem Elphaba's repopulation. Wonderful. She is almost won over when she sees Dr. Dilmode under a blanket, who has lost the power of speech. Angered by this, Elphaba accuses the wizard, but he calls off the guards to arrest Elphaba. In response, Fiyero and the guards enter, followed by Glinda. However, Fiyero helps Elphaba escapes and leaves with her. Although the broken heart Fiyero is switching sides with Elphaba in a song called I'm Not That Girl, it's a reprise version, Glinda suggests to the wizard and Madame Morrible to reprehend Elphaba is to use to her sister, Nessa Rose, as bait, by spreading a rumor that she's in danger, allowing the officials to capture Elphaba once and for all. So Madame Morrible agrees and conjures the tornado. Elphaba and Fiyero are both taken by surprise in their strength and feelings for each other. Even though they acknowledge there is no hope as them as a pair, they'll enjoy being together for that moment. That's the song, As Long As Your Mind Comes Up. And I'm going to say now, Fiyero is the Scarecrow. But here's something I could really know. I don't really know or understand, why it's the case, why, this is going on, and it's going on. Like, it's a really roller coaster ride. So I could definitely say there's a lot to cover that. So, of course, their happiness is interrupted when Elphaba sees a vision of Nessa Rose in danger and sees a house flying through the air tornado. So Elphaba tells Fiyero about the castle, Kayako, and that his family orders which she can stay. So Glinda meets Elphaba in Munchkinland, where the site where Nessa Rose has been hushed with a house by a girl named Dorothy Gale and her dog Toto inside. Upon arriving, Elphaba finds out that Glinda has given Dorothy Nessa's ruby slippers and sent her on the way to the Yellow Brick Road to the Wizard of Oz. Now we get to the part where, the Dorothy arrives and all that. So, of course, that the Wicked Witch has been basically angry, so the guards arrive to arrest Elphaba, and Fiyero holds Glinda hostage until Elphaba is allowed to go free. Glinda pleads for the guards to not harm him, but they do listen as they escort Fiyero to a nearby cornfield where they basically turn him into a scarecrow. So Elphaba tries to cast a spell to protect him, but of course she ends up turning him into a scarecrow. That's how the scarecrow was made at that point. So later, back in Oz's capital, if all the citizens unite, declaring war on Elphaba, due to the now full-grown lion, or the cowardly lion in this case that Elphaba and Fiyero rescued, Boq's new testimony against her, Meanwhile, Glinda realized that Madame Morrible, who can control the weather, is responsible for Nessarose's death. Glinda flees in horror to warn his Elphaba as the angry mob sets in to take out the march of the witch hunters. Back at the castle, Elphaba has captured Dorothy and Toto, just like the Wizard of Oz movie, which if you want to check out the last episode you can, refusing to release them until Dorothy gives Elphaba Nessarose's ruby slippers. The only things left of her dead sister, Glinda travels to Elphaba's castle to warn her about the danger and proceeds to let Dorothy and Toto go. So the Wicked Witch refuses until she receives a letter saying that Fiyero has died, and of course the two women forgive each other, acknowledge that they both made mistakes. To help her in the future, Elphaba gives the Grimoire to Glinda, and the two friends embrace one last time before saying goodbye for good. As the mob arrives, Elphaba tells Glinda to hide, and of course she watches helplessly from the shadows as Dorothy throws a bucket of water on her, melting her shaken. Again, Glinda sees that the remains of her friend and their hat and the bottle of the green potion that her mother drank. In Emerald City, of course, Glinda confronts the wizard with Elphaba's bottle, which of course he recognizes as identical to his own. He was Elphaba's biological father and her mother's lover, and she, of course, the cause of her green skin, he breaks down in sorrow. Madame Morrible summarizes that Elphaba's powers were so strong because she was the child of two worlds. Glinda banishes the wizard and sends Madame Morrible to prison. So meanwhile, back in Cameo Cove, Fiyero, now a scarecrow, comes to a spot where Elphaba is melted, making sure that no one was watching. He knocks on the door and finds out the trap door steps Elphaba. Of course, she's very much alive and wanted to pretend to melt to convince her enemy's death and wanted to be with Fiyero, who transformed into a scarecrow by her spell. So before leaving, Elphaba regrets that she will never see Glinda again and tells her that they were alive. And of course, the musical returns to the starting point. Glinda finishes the story and promotes the people of Oz, the property of they learned that the title of Glinda the Good. As people celebrate, Glinda quietly mourns. Elphaba and Fiyero leave Oz forever. Now, okay. That was actually Wicked, the Broadway musical. I obviously enjoyed it. There was like a lot of great concept to it that I obviously have to say that there was a lot of great interesting concepts. Now, I obviously found that this story was actually really cute. Well, sad at the same time, I could definitely say. And, it's a little all over the place, too. If you come to think of it, it's, like, all over the place. Like, I'm not even joking. Some parts of it is just, all over the place. But, of course, it's still pretty cool when you come to think of it. I obviously found that this story was actually really, really, really awesome and really cool in the own matter way. Now, if you don't like this Broadway performance, that's fine. If you like it, that's fine too. Okay. Okay. I think I'm gonna, explain. Now, the songs in this musical are absolutely amazing. There's time and effort into it. Of course, there's a lot of great concept in the musical. It is really cute. I'm not gonna lie. It's really cute and it's really awesome. I can definitely say that now, that it's really little all over the place to come to think of it. But I could definitely say that this musical was actually really good. Of course, the musical was going on for a long time, and it still does today. It was being, performed in certain places, like in the States. And of course, it has performed in certain places around the world, which is kind of cool, to be completely honest. I obviously love the performances, the characters, and I love how the story evolves, mainly with the Wicked Witch. Of course, we got the characters such as the Wizard of Oz, who is I guess you could say he was in Oz the Great and Powerful and that, which I will be making another video talking about that. We do have Elphaba, also known as the Wicked Witch of the West. We have Glinda, the Good Witch of the North. We have Fiyero, or the Scarecrow. We have Madame Morrible, which she's a really nasty... Madame Morrible is just like an awful character. I'm sorry, but she's just an awful kind of character, in my opinion. And we got Nessarose, or as the Wicked Witch of the East. Then we got Boq, a.k.a. the Tin Man. And we get the Cowardly Lion. Basically, this whole thing is basically... is basically something about it. Now, I could definitely say there was like a lot of time and effort into it. Definitely into it. Now, I could definitely say there was like a lot of great concept to it. Now, I could definitely say there was a lot in it. So I want you guys to think of this. What do you guys think of this idea? I actually think that the Wicked musical actually is really amazing. And for those who have not seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. It's really good. There's Broadway performances on YouTube as well, so you guys can go watch some of the videos there. But anyways, my final reign of this, okay, I know I'm doing a review, but, I basically am talking about, Wicked. So, I actually thought this musical was really good. So, if you guys like it, I highly recommend you check this out. Don't forget, if you're new to my channel, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell notification bell, so you will get notified to my uploads. And like always, I'm going to be heading out. Thank you so much for joining my podcast. If you did like it, let me know. If you didn't like it, let me know once again. And also, I'll be seeing you all, guys, in this episode. I will be seeing you all in the next video, which I will get to it hopefully soon. I don't know when exactly, but I will be getting to the next episode next week. So I want you guys to have a good weekend, and I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Thank you so much. And yeah, stay tuned for the third episode of Shadows and Pretties. So see you all later. Bye-bye.